What is going on YouTube? This is Mike here. I'm just trying to see if this is actually working or not working. I'm having issues with my stream, and yay, it is finally working. Woo! I've been dealing with this issue now for a day, and I finally figured out what the issue. It was not working, and apparently it's not working, so that is very good. Unfortunately, I just had an error pop up on my screen saying the program. Okay, now it's reconnected. I have no idea what is taking place, and so all sorts of issues. Is going on. So I am now seeing upload your. What the hell is going on? Because I'm having issues, and this is really a bit frustrating when I'm trying to. There we go. Stream resumed. For some reason, I am having technical issues, folks. I really apologize for the technical issues that is taking place. I wanted to get on here quite a bit early simply because of the issues that I'm having going on. Now, my last issue that I was having was due to my microphone. What's going on, man? Yes, I am feeling better. Mr. Gridiron Blitz, can you hear me fine? Was having some technical issues when it comes to my microphone, as well as my visual that was taking place. Can you hear me fine, or do I sound like a robot? You know how these tech issues go, and it's a bit frustrating, so just want to know if everything is going fine here when it comes to my microphone and everything else, and as soon as that sounds good, awesome. Thank you guys, thank you very much. Man, I truly do apologize for these issues I'm having, and I unfortunately, what up though, Lionsley, what up though, Mr. Gridiron Blitz and Dre Barnes, I apologize. Again, I am redoing this video that I created yesterday due to the technical issues that I was having when it comes to my microphone, and then unfortunately after that, I was having technical issues when it comes to visual. So I had to do all sorts of tech issues to get everything fixed to present to you, the audience, a desirable and a comprehensible image and understanding of microeconomics when I go into the Detroit Lions here. So it's going to be kind of like almost like a classroom, how I'm going to teach this, or show you how I believe the Detroit Lions are winning in economics. So folks, I'm going to switch my screen and I will be unable to watch your comments. So bear with me, folks. I will not be reading your comments. I am simply going to go through with what I will be talking about. So that said, let's begin the fun. So, when it comes to the economics, when it comes to any business, when it comes to economics, it is literally the backbone of any business, whether it be a big business or a small business. It is very imperative to use your finances correctly. Yes, it is okay to spend money, but make sure you spend that money correctly, whether it be an asset for right now or an asset for a couple years down the road, and that's for any business. So like if you were purchasing pants, okay, you decide to buy pants that is $10, but the pants that is $15 is going to last you 3 more years longer than the $10 pants. So is it worth to purchase the 15 over the 10? Okay, so that's the kind of thing you got to deal with when it comes to business. And when it comes to the Detroit Lions and an NFL franchise, Bob Quinn and Rod Wood has made a financial and a sound decisions when he acquisition when it comes to NFL players and when it comes to making contracts for those players, as well as draft picks for the future, and how they resolve these issues from the past couple years since Bob Quinn taken over to what we're seeing now and what we will see in a couple years from now. And I'm going to go over why, through finances and through micro and macroeconomics, why the Detroit Lions, Bob Quinn and Rod Wood, is defeating other NFL teams, and especially the NFC North when it comes to this this subject that doesn't get talked a lot about because it's not fun. It's a boring subject, but it is very vital. It is absolutely vital to the success of any business, and especially the NFL when it comes to cap space, and we have to deal with this type of issues every single year when it comes to specific players. You have to have 53 players on a roster, plus your individuals that take the practice squad. So it is so important, but it's the least talked about thing when it comes to the NFL franchise. So I'd like to lovely bring it down for you. Now, when it comes to my background, when it comes to economics, I went to a 4-year college at Davenport University. I majored in business and entrepreneurship, and my side part was micro and macroeconomics. And it is a very boring subject. However, it is so important if you're trying to create a business. The fundamental importance of any business is getting your finances correct. Now, my wife ran a business for about 4 or 5 years. And for me to understand how to get this business to succeed when she started, I had to understand how to take the finances and take the revenue that she is getting and put it into the business and constantly get more money received in than we're taking in. So making more than spending, okay? And it's very hard to do. The first couple years when we started the business, it started very stagnant and slow. Actually, the first year, initially, we probably lost money. We probably had more liability when it comes to the business than assets. However, if you create a sound business plan, just like Bob Quinn is doing, eventually the finances goes up. Your business takes a turn for the positive, and the best thing to do for an entrepreneur at that point is then turn around and sell the business. And so that's what we did. So that's just a little bit about myself. So let's go ahead and talk about the Detroit Lions when it comes to finances. Now, to me, this is the most important part when it comes to understanding what they are doing. So currently, you can see right here on this page, it is showing the all the 32 teams when it comes to their cap space. Now here you see the cap space on the right. It says right, Indianapolis Colts is the best in the NFL, and you will see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the worst in the NFL. Okay, so that is a very important number when we look at these figures. Now, the second most important number in my personal view is the dead money cap space. So dead money is this line here, and how you occur this type of finances when it comes to an NFL franchise is giving out poor contracts to players, and or the players that the contracts was given out to, you end up letting the player go before they fulfill their contract deal. So for say we give a 5-year contract to a player, we decide to release him after 3 years. You're going to accrue dead money. So it is very, very vital for when it comes to Bob Quinn and Rod Wood to get a quality contract for each player. Each player they sign, whether it be to the 53 or to the practice squad or simply just trying to make a roster. So every single detail is vital for the success of this. So again, we see here the best team right now in the NFL is the Indianapolis Colts. Now you see them, they have a cap space of nearly $40 million for what is going on this offseason. That is fantastically good. Now that does not suggest that they're going to have the best, team in the NFL, but it does suggest that the general manager understands a contract. Now again, they're going to have players that's going to be demanding bigger contracts future down the road, but they're financially sound when it comes to, okay, we're going to pay our players when it's time to get paid, like the Andrew Lucks of the world and the T.Y. Hiltons of the world. We got the money to do that. Okay? And now we go all the way down to 32 and 31. Now you see the Minnesota Vikings. They are right now at a negative cap of $17.334 million. Now, this is vital to show you why the Minnesota Vikings, in my view, in my personal view, why they are not going to be a good franchise going forward for the next couple of years, for the next 2, 3, and even 4 years. When they paid Kirk Cousins that massive contract, they could not afford to put all the cast around him to pay everyone around him. Now, since they paid that big contract, all the other contracts they have with the other players, in which I will indefinitely go into in a little bit, they're going to have to start releasing or trade players because they have to get under the cap amount. So players, like you've seen as of recently, when it comes to Rudolph, their tight end, there's going to be trade rumors about him getting let go and traded to another team. And there's going to be more players because they must get under this cap hit. Now, it looks like this was just upgraded for the draft players that got drafted in this league. So I had this up yesterday. It was not accounted for. And it looks like now it is accounted for because I know individual rookies did get signed. So we've seen the best and the worst. Now we'll look where the Detroit Lions are. Currently, excuse me, we are $6.4 million in cap space. And yes, this does account for our rookie contract because yesterday it was $11 million. So this was exactly where I thought they would be. So awesome. They have $6.4 million in cap space. Their rookies are now paid for. What makes this interestingly fantastic is the fact that this offseason we did not hold back when it comes to finances. We paid out the Trey Flowers a pretty hefty contract. We paid out Jesse James a pretty nice contract, and Coleman the cornerback. Even with the contracts that we paid out, we still are now ranked 13 in the NFL when it comes to cap space. And that is outstanding, going to the fact that we can get individuals that fit our scheme, and we are still under the cap. So remember this number, folks, because I'm going to go straight into this bad boy right now. So now we're going to go into the Detroit Lions. Now, as you can see, when it comes to the cap space, Mr. Matthew Stafford, our franchise quarterback, has a base salary of $13.5 million and a signing bonus of $10 million and roster $5.5 million. His cap hit is $29.5 million with a 15.24% cap rate. Now, look at that dead money cap. This is why I was preaching all offseason the Detroit Lions were not going to trade Mr. Matthew Stafford. I would get frustrated because individuals on other channels would suggest that's going to happen. This cap hit here is $55 million. If they were to trade Matthew Stafford, that would literally put about 30.2% of the cap on a quarterback that was not be on the team. So that would instantly make our team from contender to an instant trash because we would be unable to sign any player, and it would be the worst move ever made of a franchise. This alone makes him not tradable. So I suggested to everyone that was saying that, please look into a contract, and you'll notice he is not tradable. With that said, he is now at $29.5 million. Yes, that's high, but that is the going rate for a franchise quarterback nowadays. As you can see with the contracts that Kirk Cousins got, with Aaron Rodgers got, and Russell Wilson got, that's the going rate. So right now, he's going to be, probably by the end of the year, the 10th best paid quarterback in the NFL. And that's approximately where he should be. I mean, if you kind of think about it. So, good signing there by Bob Quinn. Now, when you look at Darius Slay, he is a shutdown cornerback in the NFL. He is receiving a base salary of $12.55 million, with a signing bonus pretty good, with a cap hit of $15.934 million with a percentage of 8.23. Now, his dead cap hit's not bad, but for the going rate of a shutdown corner like himself, that is a very good contract. And now we're going to go into why Bob Quinn is a fantastic general manager with Rod Wood when it comes to making contracts up. We look at Rick Wagner, who he signed 2 years ago. Now, he has a base salary of $9 million for a right tackle. Okay, his cap hit is 11.9. Now, We drafted Terrell Crosby last year to eventually be Rick Wagner's replacement. This year, after he'll be playing right guard, Mr. Terrell Crosby, I assume he will start right guard. That's what I've been saying all year. And I said after this year, Terrell Crosby will be our right tackle. Now, the cap hit is 11.9. We drafted, Bob Quinn had the intelligence to draft Rick Wagner's replacement 2 years before he needed him. 2 years before he needed him, because he knew when he signed Rick Wagner to this contract that after this year, he fulfilled his contract. Now we can move on from him, and we have his replacement for a rookie deal. So, we got everything out of Rick Wagner. It was a good contract. He's going to play out his contract, and when he is done, we have his suitable replacement who will be as good, if not better, or just a tad bit worse, not bad at all, for 1/10 of the price. Understanding the fact that Terrell Crosby will take over for next year, and that's the thinking behind these moves. That will save us for next year probably 11 million, around there, depending how it was suited for next. Now, we go into Mr. Marvin Jones. You're hearing rumors how he may get traded. Do I believe that? No. He's making a base salary of $6.5 million, in which is very good for a quality wide receiver that he is, and a dead cap hit of 5.3. So he's probably not going to get traded, because if we trade him, he's literally we're gonna save $1 million at best for a really good wide receiver. However, when you look at the cap hit now, and it's approximately gonna be like that next year, we drafted the wide receiver this year in this draft that is very similar to Mr. Marvin Jones, who again may take over for Marvin Jones with the combination of Kenny Golladay and the new receiver that we drafted, and possibly another one next year. So again, if we decide to move on, if Bob Quinn decided to move on with Marvin Jones, that would be saving another $9 million, so almost $20 million. And we did with these two contracts. When Bob Quinn gave those contracts 3 years ago and 2 years ago, they actually played out their contract. When we used to have Martin Mayhew, he would sign individuals, but we would end up having to cut the player before their contract ran out, like DeAndre Levy. And when you cut an individual before their contract runs out, then you receive that dead cap hit. Now, finally, the DeAndre Levy contract was off this year's cap space. However, with the punishment that Mr. Mayhew did to our team, we had dead cap space the last couple of years from players who are not even on our team. So again, Bob Quinn has went from that philosophy to, okay, we're going to sign individuals that fit our scheme, as well who's going to play their contract out, at least the most possible way that they can possibly play it out, and then we will draft the replacement a year or 2 years prior for their departure to constantly have that rotation of players. And that is the brilliance of Mr. Rod Wood as well as Bob Quinn. Now again, you look at Snacks Harrison. He made that trade. Again, he's making a decent amount for the best run-stuffing defensive tackle in the NFL at $6.75 million, with a cap dead hit of 3.2, and a cap hit of $7 million. Again, if they decided to, okay, we'd like to keep Damon Harrison because he's got another year on his contract, we can do that. Okay, so if they say we're not going to decide to reassign him because he wants to reassign, that's okay. So we're not going to take a cap hit if they decide to move on from him after his contract runs out. But we still got another 2 years of his contract. So again, we're not going to take a dead hit because I don't see us releasing Damian Harrison after this season. Do you, folks? I don't. He's the number one defensive tackle in stopping the run. Again, a good acquisition for a trade for an individual that's making a decent amount for what he's doing, actually probably underpaid, and we're not going to take a cap hit when we eventually move on from him. A fantastic job by Bob Quinn. Now, you look at Trey Flowers. He's not making much at all this year. So when Bob Quinn did this contract, he wanted to start low with Trey Flowers and build up throughout the next couple years. And when you look at what we're going to be probably moving on from Rick Wagner and Marvin Jones, it works, folks. We're paying them cheap now, but when these contracts are off the books, and they will be, we'll still be able to pay Trey Flowers and pick up more talent if need be, folks. So he masterfully did that contract to where we're not going to be in cap hell for the first time in a decade, in the longest of times. And if you look at these other contracts, look, Quandre Diggs, $6 million. Devin Kennard, $6 million. We are paying fairly low contracts to high-quality players. Now this is going to get interesting, because this is where you can see the cut is going to happen is with Mr. Theo Riddick. He is making a base salary of $3.45. He has got a cap hit of $4,625, but a dead cap hit of only less than $1 million. So this is the ability. We can cut Theo Riddick, and we will save approximately a little over $3 million. We do take a dead hit of less than $1 million, but we save $3 million. So look for him to get cut through financial decisions. And his contract was made very well as well. It's like Bob Quinn and Rod Wood knew exactly what to do with these individual players. Now, as you see with us getting rid of soon Rick Wagner, Marvin Jones, and possibly down the future Damian Harrison, we are going to have contracts that are going to come up with Taylor Decker, as well as in the future, TJ Hawkinson years down the road, and as well as Jared Davis and Frank Wagner. But again, how he's drafting individuals' replacement 2-3 years down the road, he's doing it financially sound. And that makes our team not good for this year, but good for year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Just like a business plan. When you create a business plan, let me get back to the other screen. When you create a business plan, you don't just do for the immediate future. You do it for year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and some bigger businesses go to 10 years. Bob Quinn took the 5-year route, and we are now on year, 3 to 4? So he's doing a fantastic job when it comes to this. You're seeing now, through finances, how his plan is laying out. What up, though, Tone of Voice? What up, though, Michael Christian, Nicholas Aaron? What up, though, Bob Money? You are here for the right one, Mr. Money, because that is what we are talking about. We are talking about the finances and the things that is taking place about the Detroit Lions that is very vital. Now, let's skip to the Green Bay Packers. When it comes to Green Bay, you're going to see their issues taking place here. Now, Aaron Rodgers obviously is getting paid well. His contract's actually not too bad. However, if you start looking down the individuals around him, you got Bakhtiari, you got Jimmy Graham, who, look at this individual, Jimmy Graham, who is not getting paid for his contract. He is not worth the amount he's getting paid here. He's the number 3 paid individual on his team, yet he's not doing much. And his cap hit is almost $12.5 million. That is an insane amount for an individual that's not doing as much. You look at other players, 10, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6. They're going to have issues down the road. This year, not so much, because they have a cap space of around $10 million, and they're actually doing fairly well this year. But you're going to see, like I've been saying, the downslope of the team when it comes to contracts. They're drafting players, but in my personal opinion, they're not drafting quality players with the ability to replace the players they have. So they have to pay out these gaudy contracts to individuals because they don't have the individuals to place them. So that's going to bring their team in a world of pain for years down the road. Now, let's go to the absolute worst team when it comes to the NFC North, and who is going to be in cap hell for years to come, and that's the Minnesota Vikings, folks. These guys are in a world of hurt. They paid that massive contract to Kirk Cousins. a base salary of $27.5 million. That's 2 times the amount Matthew Stafford's getting paid. His cap hit is $29 million with a dead cap hit of $60 million. Folks, they cannot release him, they cannot trade him, so they have to eat this contract. And that's not the issue, just the issue, folks. They're right now at a negative cap space of $17.3 million. Look at these these players they're paying. 13, 12, 11, 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 7. That is an insane amount for their players. Their contracts are ginormous to their team. This is the fact they're going to have to trade away Kyle Rudolph. They're going to have to get rid of maybe a Xavier Rhodes or a Danielle Hunter. But again, even when they do get rid of, look at all these dead cap hits. They're going to get crushed when it comes to the cap. And simply, they're going to get rid of talent because of this. And this is going to strangle their team going forward until they get rid of Mr. Kirk Cousins. So their team is not going to be doing well in the next couple of years. For next year, the year after, and the year after that, they're going to be in hell when it comes to economics for their team. It is fundamentally going to get destroyed, folks. Destroyed. And this is why I say they're going to take a downturn when it comes to the NFC North. Now, we're going to look at a really good team, the Chicago Bears, when they set up their contracts. This is why I say they're the main competitor in the NFC North, not just for the fact of their 12-4 record that they have, but they've been drafting well, they're drafting for replacements, and they're setting up quality contracts, even with the big trade they did with Khalil Mack. Now, for the next 2 years, they're fairly well. They have an estimated cap, say around 15.5 mil. Their highest player is a wide receiver at 15 million because they don't have the mega contract for their quarterback Mitchell Trubisky. So they have the ability to pay their players like Robinson, Fuller, Mack, Hicks, all these individuals, and not be construed on cap hit. Now, their problem is going to come when Mitchell Trubisky decides to get off his rookie contract, when they're going to have to pay him some big money. So when they pay him some big money, in probably 3 years, then they'll have to restructure some of their contracts. But again, they're drafting well, and when you draft well, you can get rid of these mega contracts and have their replacement. So when it comes to the NFC North, the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions going forward is going to be the main competitors. Now again, I think Detroit Lions has the edge when it comes to talent at the quarterback position. Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, is better than Mitchell Trubisky by far. Thus, it gives us the edge. Because when it comes to talent on defense and weapons around the offense, it's fairly close, folks. It is fairly close to without being, drinking the Kool-Aid. But I still believe the Detroit Lions are going to take command of the NFC North this year, looking by contracts through the rest of the NFC North. And it is so important let me go back so I can see what you guys are talking about. What up, though, Noble Sports? So, again, it's very vital important for an individual like Rod Wood, for an individual like Bob Quinn, to, when they're going to get individual players for our team, when they decide, okay, we want this player, we have to do the correct contract that fits the system, and that player can play out his contract, and we do not have to release him before the contract and take dead money hit. He is by far, when it comes to economics and dealing with the financial constraints of Detroit Lions as a business, the best general manager we've had in recent memory. By far beats Matt Millen. He by far destroys Mr. Mayhew, and he picks the individuals that will actually work out their contract, and then he drafts. He instinctively, like a smart general manager, drafts for the replacement a year or 2 years before that individual needs to get replaced. Look at Galladay. For the Marvin Jones, the wide receiver he picked up. Bo Benchois right? When we got Terrell Crosby for Rick Wagner, and then Bo Benshaw probably with Terrell Crosby at the right guard position. He is systematically completely changing the culture when it comes to finances for this team. And it is so fantastic to watch as a Detroit Lions fan, is to see us as a team do the stuff that makes our franchise to the next level. And thankfully, again, we have individuals that understand how to run a business, run a franchise, and to make this thing stay afloat for years to come. Now, again, we loved Golden Tate. We loved Megatron. But, folks, Bob Quinn has to treat this like a business because it is a business. We love these players, but he had, in his view, when it comes to the financial standpoint, we were not going to be able to sign Golden Tate to the contract that the New York Giants did. So what do? We have to get rid of him. We weren't going to win last year anyways with him in the lineup. He knew this. We all knew this. We seen how the team was not doing that well. So he did the correct move and trade the individual, got compensation back, and don't have to deal with a mega contract. And we have the replacement with Amendola and also with the draft players that Bob Quinn's drafting. So his philosophy is the correct one. Draft the replacement, build this team through the draft, and put pieces around the team in free agency, but the correct contract. And folks, he's done that. He has done that. And it's absolutely awesome to see as a Detroit Lions fan. And I really appreciate the sound financial mindset that these folks in leadership positions up in Detroit Ford Field there understand what they're doing. And it is very nice to see. Very nice to see. Now, I just wanted to throw that out there before I got into anything going forward. I think it's important. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and I know it's a boring subject, and I was not going to get a lot of individuals wanting to listen onto it, but to me, it's very, very important. It's like the backbone of a team in a sense. You know, you got to always, you got to check every dollar and go under each cushion to get that, and that's why, you know, you see the government, they don't understand how to spend money wisely, but we as adults, as we have to save money and pay our bills, we're very financially sound when it comes to that sense, and we take care of our money very soundly, and that's what they need to do at Detroit as well. We can't just simply throw money out, and it's very, very positive going forward, folks. Now, again, I really like doing this Friday night type segment with you guys. I have a sleep schedule that is so insane because I got to get up so early, so I really do enjoy Friday nights with the ability to talk to individuals that would not be able to, normally through the week. And so I really appreciate everyone taking the time to decide to watch me and take the time to listen to what I have to say. Now, before I get into any other stuff, I want to give a huge shout out to the folks of the Round Table. That is Mr. Noble Sports, the founders, the George Washingtons, the individuals that sprung this whole Detroit Sports Alliance, Mr. Noble Sports, the great one, the Gridiron Blitz, also known as the Derek P. Fields, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the 313 JMO, the guy that knows it all, then of course the guy that puts it all together, the men amongst men, the hero of heroes, Mr. Luke G himself, the great one. That guy is awesome, fantastic. Without him, I would not be in the position I am at right now. So I absolutely appreciate everything that he's done and everything that the rest of DCA founders have done, the founding fathers. What up, though, Buffed Up? Again, man, I was just talking finances. If there's anything else you would like to talk about, I just knocked that out. You can restart that later if you're actually interested. I know it's a boring subject when it's talked to in finances and stuff like that, but to me it's important that I went to school for it, and understanding how to keep a business afloat, as my wife ran a business and I did the finances for her, it's imperative to have those dollars in the correct spaces. Like, also give a shout out to Mr. Detroit Drew, my buddy, my partner in crime, Mr. Risky Football Talk, and well as CA3 Sports Talk. Make sure if you've not subscribed to them, if you're on now, just simply listening, or if you listen later, make sure you do so. We go live with those guys usually at 5 o'clock at Mondays and Wednesdays, because my ability to getting stuff done prior to late is vital for me to work around my work and family life schedule. So again, man, I appreciate everything that those folks have done, and myself, getting these individuals to come together and destroy the narrative that is the Detroit Lions that we've had for so many years. And it's time to destroy that narrative. Now, there's some other stuff I wanted to look into when it comes to the Detroit Lions, and I think it's important that I get to that. So I'm going to go run into this. And this was... Sorry, I still got it. It looks like the Minnesota Vikings decide to cut off ties with Kyle Rudolph and doing an extension. And then that obviously affects us, because Kyle Rudolph is the Minnesota Vikings tight end, and they're going to be losing players because of that cap hit. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. My personal belief is he will get traded to like the New England Patriots if they need a tight end position. You think the Rockets can knock out the Warriors? I really apologize, Mr. Buffed Up. I'm not that sound when it comes to the NBA and basketball. Fortunately, I don't really watch a whole lot at all. I watch a little bit of baseball here and there, but again, I don't have really a lot of time to do that. I'm a huge Detroit Lions fan because I played high school football. I grew up playing football. I'm actually an Oregon Ducks fan. I'm from the state of Oregon, and I moved to Michigan when I was 16. I grew up actually in Michigan, then moved to Oregon, then moved back. So I'm an Oregon Ducks fan and a Detroit Lions fan. So that's why I like football a lot more. Now, Mr. Gridiron Blitz says no, he does not believe that's going to happen. And Derek P. Fields is the man that would probably know it a lot better than me. He understands that stuff and has better advice than I do for sure. Now, let's get into some other Detroit Lions news that is very interesting, as well as we did sign a lot of those players, those draft picks we got. We got TJ Hawkinson and a couple more. We got Bo Benchois. We got our linebacker Tavai. We signed him, so that's really good. That was approximately $5 million in the cap. We got Amani. I cannot say his last name, so I will refuse to do that. And Ezekiel Ansah signed a contract, a one-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks. Now, a question that I was told was, would you sign Ezekiel Ansah to the contract that the Seattle Seahawks did? Because it really wasn't that big contract at all that Seattle gave to him. I think it was like a $7 million one-year contract. And my answer is no, I would not. And the reason I would say this is his injury history. I think we got so much talent on defense. If we signed Mr. Ezekiel Ansah, then that would leave one less roster spot for an individual that potentially would be healed the whole time, who would be missing reps and helping our team out. And I think Ezekiel Ansah in time as Detroit was time to be over. I think it was a year too late. I think Ansah is real beat up, and again, it is time for him to move on. It was time for us to move on from him. And for me, I think it was definitely a good move for us to leave, but it was also a good move for Seattle Seahawks in a sense that it's just a one-year flyer at $7 million. Maybe Mr. Ansah, I apologize for that, still got that sickness a little bit. Mr. Ansah maybe will play a little harder for their team. Maybe a change of scenery would help. But for us as a Detroit Lions, I think it is definitely time for us to move on. Now, I really really appreciate that you guys staying on and listening, because I know it's starting to get a little boring, and that is okay. Not a whole lot of news other than that going on. Is there anything else you guys want to ask myself before I decide to jump off and do more important things like hang out with my kids? So please let me know, because if you have any questions, usually I do a mailbag on a Monday and a Wednesday, but with the recent stuff going on with the draft, I kind of got away from that. I haven't been able to actually look to see if I got a whole lot of questions asked to me. So if you got anything here, I know Buffed Up, me and you, we had a disagreement when it comes to the Packers, and that's okay. As adults, it's absolutely okay to disagree. Agree to disagree, and so I really truly value you as a subscriber, and I appreciate all your insight. If you completely disagree with me, hey, that is absolutely your opinion, and I fought for the freedom to, with the ability of anyone to express their opinion. I will defend it, whether it be even something I completely disagree with. I will defend it to my death, because you have the right to say whatever you want to say, and that is my opinion. And so you feel free to disagree and send me some comments that is knocking me down, and that is totally okay to me, because I do not take it personal at all. Mr. Gridiron Blitz, do you have anything going on your channel that would be interesting? I know, folks, the Gridiron Blitz is going to Arizona week 1, and I think it's an awesome idea that he decided to do that, and I truly, truly applaud this idea of going out to meet other Lions fans in Arizona and bringing the Detroit Sports Alliance to that place. And so, please, if you have even $1 to help Derek P. Fields out, to help him finance that is a campaign to help him go there and gain some money to help him out. Now, it's not a begging plea at all. It's we're not all millionaires, and when it comes to finances, but we are all family in my eyes. All folks that sit here and listen to all this stuff, we are family, and anything that I can do to help Derek P. Fields to help him do that, I will. I will personally give him some money myself, because I think his idea is sound, and I absolutely love it. Plus, I mean, going to another, I think it's not it used to be a college, right? Some Phoenix Stadium, it used to be, University of Phoenix, but I think it'd be very awesome to have one of us represent Detroit and do a live cast there. Do you think it is possible that the Lions win the division with a 9-7 record, and how would that make you feel? Well, if we win the division, I will be very happy. So if we win it by 9-7 or 8-8, I'm going to be happy, because we have not won a division since the 1990s, and that is a fantastic question. I would be very sad and disappointed that we did not win it with a higher margin, because I feel like we have the talent to go 11 wins this year. In my personal opinion, I feel like it will be a far cry for what you should be doing, and that's taken to that next level, to not just winning, but possibly even possibly having to try to get a bye week, and so you're not going to get that with a 9-win season. So if you can get that 11 wins, I would prefer that. But yes, if we did win the division at 9-7, folks, we haven't won it since 1991 or so, and so I will be very happy at a W. Tem, I'll cry if we can't get to 10 wins. I'm with you, man. I don't know if I'll cry. I'll be very sad. I'll look like a fool, because I've been spouting out 11 wins this whole year, and I pride myself in trying to do correct predictions. So far, I've been doing well in the draft. I think I got 3 or 4 draft picks right in my draft pick, how it played out. But again, it was wrong when it comes to the spots. I got Bo Bentrell as a free agent. I had him in the 4th round. I got T.J. Hockenson with my first pick, and I think I got a safety or someone else. So I pride myself in trying to get that stuff right, and I feel like the I've been spitting off to you guys, my subscribers, individual listening, that we can do 11 wins, and I truly do believe that we can do 11 wins. The Grid Iron Blitz says no, Mike C, 10 wins or better. Yeah, again, I'm with you. I would be disappointed. I would be happy we win the division, but be again disappointed that we did not get that 11 wins. That's what I want. I would be disappointed at 10 wins. I want my 11 win mark. I think I'll actually bet money off it in Vegas because right now the Vegas has us at 7 wins. I think is the over under whatever. So I'm gonna throw money into and I'm not a betting man. I do not bet money. I don't go to the casinos. I barely buy a scratch off ticket here and there. But with 7 wins, I'm damn sure I'm gonna make some money off that for sure. It sounds funny. Dang it, man! Why is this doing that? All right. Let's see. Hold on, folks. I apologize. I don't. Not acting crazy. I truly apologize what's going on. I think I now, at this point, I need to purchase a new microphone because this is the second one. I tried to get my good one here to work. I'm having issues with that one. So then I tried a different one, and now that is not working. So after this is now twice in a row. I failed you, the subscriber, and I will definitely look into getting a better sound system for this because that is frustrating. Buffed up. No branch from Belichick has had success. Um, I can understand that sense, but I'm gonna go back to the Cleveland Browns here. When Bill Belichick was hired as the coach of the Cleveland Browns before he became the head coach of the Patriots, he did not have a good year. This is why I related it to Matt Patricia. Coach Belichick had a very sad year. I think it was 5 wins or six wins. In the year after that, again he had bad wins. He tried to implement the system that he's doing now with the Patriots, changing the culture, changing the mindset. Doing so, you have to remove a lot of players from a team, and you got to remove some of the coaches. Okay, a season it takes about what 30% each season is how you kind of round out new players. So it takes 2 seasons to kind of get 60% to get it over the hump, and 3 seasons is really when you're starting to flow, right? Cleveland fired him, I think it was after 2 seasons, because they had that mindset of he was a failure. He went to New England, became a major success because they stuck it out. They stuck it out in New England. So, with them sticking it out, it took a while, but the success happened. Obviously, having Tom Brady as well did not hurt, but they stuck it out. When it comes to Denver Broncos, when they got the offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots, they did not stick it out. He was gone like that. When it comes to I think it was the Miami Dolphins, they did not stick it out. Gone like that. Now, when it comes to the Texans, they stuck it out, and they have not. I don't think they've won a whole lot in the postseason, but they're constantly a winner. Now that they do have weird years where they can win a lot and then for some reason just crash and burn. But they've stuck it out, and you're seeing now success when it comes to the Texans. They're not a slum team anymore by far. When you think of the Texans, you think, damn, they're actually going to bring a lot of pain, okay? Because they have a pretty good running game. They have now a good quarterback, good passing game. Their thing was they didn't have a quarterback, but they still was doing fairly well with success. Now, that is what we have to do. I know people wanted Patricia gone after 1 year, folks. We have to let this thing ride out. The only way to get to heaven is to go through hell. This first year, I predicted we would not do well at all. Before the season started, I said, man, this thing's going to look ugly from the beginning. And because you're implementing a whole new style, a whole new mindset of running harder, training harder, this, that, and the other. And when you take that type of mindset to individuals that have not had that, it's very tough on them. It's very, very tough on them. And I can relate to that too in the Army. Okay, so before I went to basic training, I knew exactly what the military was going to bring in basic training. I knew it was going to be tough and it was going to be a butt kicker for sure. My father was in the army. My grandparents were in the army. My uncles in the army. I knew all about it. I grew up in a military family. I knew the intense, the destructive nature that is going to hit me in the face. When I got on that bus, I knew there ain't no mom anymore. There ain't no, this is not taking it easy. This is a punch you in the mouth. We're going to break you completely down and we're going to build you up into a champion. That's how the military works. Now, when I first started basic training to when I ended, we had, we ended up with only, 40% of the people that was there the whole time. And that was just basic combat training, basic training. It was not even talking about the other trainings beyond the military. Basic training is just basic, okay? 60% of the people failed out. They could not handle it because they're not used to this type of intense training. It takes a different type of individual to have this mindset. That is how the Patriots way is. You cannot have an individual who does not buy into that system. You have to have individuals who buy into that system, and you get young guys who only understand this is the way to win. And that's what they did. And you're going to have that where individuals did not buy out, and then you have to get them out of there. And that's why you've seen what we've seen. Now, again, even the media don't buy into it because they don't understand that philosophy. They don't understand to build somebody up, you first must break them down. You must physically break them down and build them into a champion. That's how it was in the military. I went as a very soft individual, and I came out a very hard-nosed individual with the ability of having skin thicker than thick. I can take a lot more heat than other individuals. I'm not as hard nosed or hard thick headed as other individuals because that's what it does, and that's what is happening to the Detroit Lions, folks. And I understand it is difficult to see right now with a 6-10 record and what's going on, but you have to trust the process. It's a process, and folks, if it doesn't fail, it's going to get blown up either way. So we got to support the team. We have to support the players. We got to support the coaches. We must support Martha Ford. I think she's done a great job for a 94-year-old. I think she's 94 compared to her husband. She's definitely done a better job in the manager's front, and for 94, she's done far more than what I would do. So I give her a lot of credit. I give that organization right now a whole lot of credit that no other person, no other individuals besides the Detroit Sports Alliance is doing right now. They don't give the team credit. We hear negativity. Negativity, negativity, negativity. And as fans, we are bred to just say, "Oh, it's going to suck either way." But I'm telling you, you have individuals like Luke G, who's played the game of football. I think even in college. I played it in high school. I did a lot of football. I did a lot of military when it comes to mental breakdown. I understand what it takes. You have other individuals. That's not even part of Detroit Sports Alliance that's played the game of football, and and they understand it, and that's why we're trying to give you our belief in our system and why to believe. Finally believe, you know. Gridiron says, "How's Risky doing?" He's doing really good, folks. He's on a hiatus right now because he's got tests. He's got big time schooling tests going on, and I told him to get away from this stuff. Focus on your schooling. Schooling is absolutely number one, no matter what. I understand the strenuous of doing fantastic tests and focusing on it to good work there. What up, though, Tone of Voice? What up, though, Mike DeBart Mail? Hey, what up, though, man? Hey, first off, I was talking about economics. You missed it. If you would like to actually go through that, it is quite boring, but it does show you why I believe the Detroit Lions are heading in the correct direction, why other individuals in the NFC North is not. And so that's just what I think. Okay, Belichick went 5-11 for 2 seasons straight with New England before winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, again, it's a process. You have to take the process, and it's again. I think the great 50 Cent once said, "The only way to get to heaven is to go through hell." Okay, so you have to stick the process out. It's going to hurt initially, but it will reach this. And why I believe the Detroit Lions are, instead of sucking this year and then making the jump next year, I think they're making the jump this year because, first off, we do have a franchise quarterback. Secondly, we have a lot of talent on the team. This team is loaded with talent on offense and on defense. This team also has depth. The team on the depth situation is the best I've ever seen as a Detroit Lions fan, period. I've never seen the depth like this before. So if an injury occurs, and it will, we will have individuals replace that person in a bind, and it shouldn't be big of a drop off. They did sound when it comes to contracts and cap space. They have talent on every side of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams, because we picked up players who can return punts as well as kickoffs. We got with the ability to run the football, in which he is deliberately pounded for this team. Bob Quinn has made us a run-first team, and that's how you win in the NFL. You must run the football. You must run it enough, pound, pound, pound. When it comes to the cold winter, that's when you start winning in the cold games, and so on and so forth. He has built this philosophy. The philosophy is old school philosophy, but it is works. We have a competent offensive coordinator. Our last coordinator we had, KFC, was incompetent and was the utmost worst offensive coordinator in Lions, could be Lions history. Could be the worst in history. Maybe the guy we got rid of before him was pretty damn bad as well. Um, Well, we got the hell part down. Yeah, absolutely, man. And you know what? I like that point that you said there, Mike. First off, your name's awesome, because so is mine. Secondly, when we win, when we win the NFC North and we eventually win a Super Bowl, a playoff game, and then we eventually win a Super Bowl. Unlike other teams in the NFL, of other even of other franchises and other sports, it's going to be the greatest victory for us as a fan base, for Detroit as a city, for Michigan as a state, and for fans all over the country are going to really love when we do this, because we have taken the abuse of fan bases that it's probably never been taken before. This type of, like the Cubs when they won their championship. It's going to be like that. It's going to be the greatest feeling that of winning something of all time, because we've lost for so much. It will be a great thing for all of us. And it will be making individuals like myself, who's been a Lions fan for so long, to finally see that victory, and it will be so great. And you'll see other fan bases cheering us on, because like when the Cubs won it, and I was hearing their fans, cheer because they haven't won it in so long, in 100 years. Man, I was like, damn, that's pretty nice for them. Now, Matt, and I was reminiscing, saying, I cannot wait to say this about the Detroit Lions. It's gonna be so great, and it'd be so awesome as a fan base, and us coming together and doing this is a victory for all of us. He least ain't Mike Williams. I think you're talking about T.J. Hockenson. T.J. Hockenson is, first off, I think Mike Williams is he was a wide receiver bust. T.J. Hockenson has the ability of doing it all. He's a fantastic tight end. He has the ability to pass block, run block, catch the ball, go out in the slot, go out wide. He's a do-it-all tight end, and he's going to open that field up for us like never seen before. And I've went over this a billion times. There's no reason for me to keep doing that. Y'all have heard it a million times over. Oh, Mike Williams also wore 88. Oh, okay, I see your reference. Yeah. Yeah, he did wear 88. Yeah, he was definitely going to make that number relevant again. Um, Mike Williams was a disaster. That was just a terrible draft pick. And God, man, Matt Millen, boy, God bless his heart now. He got that heart transplant, but he was a terrible general manager. Dude, I was in Detroit when the Tigers won in '68. People were riding the top. Oh, man, Mr. Mike, when we win, This is going to be so blessed for you. You've been a fan for longer than I have been alive, and for you, oh, I cannot wait for that moment, man. I tell you what, when it happens, it's going to be glory to all of us, and especially you. You've been a fan for so long, and you finally will finally get all that redemption of all that hate we've taken throughout the years, especially you for so long being a fan. It's going to be glorious, just glorious for you, and enjoy the season, man. Enjoy it. This is going to be a good season for us. Enjoy it. I remember the 2011 season, and I just enjoyed it. I I truly enjoyed it, and instead of just like focusing on the next game, the next game, next game, I was loving that game for the moment, for what it was, because it was a special year. I remember when the crowd chant at Ford Field when Cliff Averill to that pick. He picked it on the line as like at the 10-yard line, ran it in for a touchdown, and the crowd went playoffs, playoffs, playoffs. That was one of the greatest feelings I've had in a long time. I think I had a tear come down my eye, and this is going to be one of those years. So enjoy it every second you can, and enjoy the living hell out of it, and enjoy it with us, the Detroit Sports Alliance, because we are here with you, and it's going to be great fun. And when it comes to the games, I'm going to do pre-shows. So right before the game starts, I will do our show. I will talk about what I think is going to happen. I'm going to talk about fantasy football picks for other if you play fantasy football, because I do that as well. I love fantasy football. I'm in the playoffs every year. I don't remember the last time that I've not been in the playoffs. I seem to do very well with that, and I would love to start a Detroit Sports Alliance fantasy football league. That would be epically awesome. And so I'll do that. I'll talk about players that would be playing and how schematically it'll go. How I can see the chess game going for that game. Because how Patricia runs it, he changes the schematics up each game. So that'll be fun to do as well, and then I will do a live analysis. That will be my reactions. I go nuts during Lions games, folks. Like, I go crazy. Like, I'm one of those guys that's like, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. So I go nuts. So if you're looking to see some crazy reactions, that is me. I am through and through. I'm in it, and I'll do a after game analysis as well. And I'm sure the DSA folks will do as well. They paid him 19 million a reason, so did Charlie Sanders. Okay, I'm a bit terrified what might happen if the Lions won the Super Bowl. Might be the catalyst for the end of the world. Hey, if the Lions win the Super Bowl, if you're the rapture may happen after that, right? That would be interesting, right? Um, buffed up. Need you do that fantasy. I'm trash. Yeah, man, I love fantasy football, and it's crazy. Is I draft a little different than other individuals. Usually, you get like people that will draft a quarterback fairly high. What I do is a little different. So I go round one. I generally go the best available running back. In my opinion, it's not the running stats that I go for by last year. Not at all. I actually usually go through the offensive line of teams like the Cowboys and others, and I see how their offensive line is built, and then like I usually pick the best running back through their offensive lines as well as their passing game. So I picked last year. I had the running back from the Cowboys. Hey, I can't even think of his name right now. I had Adrian Peterson. I had him. I had Mahomes as my quarterback because no one thought he'd be good. I thought he'd be fantastic. I had Patrick Mahomes. I had Kenny Galladay as a wide receiver. I had Kerryon Johnson was my third running back. My tight end actually was crazy as I had Gronkowski as my tight end, and that did me very well. And then my backup was actually Eric Ebron. So I had a very good year. I went to the championship again. So, but usually my philosophies when it comes to fantasy football is I draft a running back again, the best available. Then from that position, whether it be a three, I try to take possibly a running back who I think is going to be really good, a sleeper running back. When it comes to, again, I look at the offensive lines, maybe even a rookie running back like I did last year with Kerryon Johnson. Um, if not, I will then go for the best available wide receiver through a team that passes the ball. Like I had Kenny Galladay. I think I had Tariq Hill, as well as Patrick Mahomes. I thought they were going to have a passing type offense. I was correct. So I went there. I took a quarterback in the 6th round. I took Patrick Mahomes in the 6th round. And everyone else is taking like Aaron Rodgers in the 2nd round. A lot of people is taking quarterbacks in the 2nd round. I don't advise doing that. Wait a little bit. You can always get a good quarterback in the later rounds. So that's usually what I do. Um, I will not draft a kicker at all unless there's the best ones available in the last pick. Usually I simply go for running backs, wide receivers. I get a good quarterback in the later rounds, and I focus on depth because of injury, and then I will shoot up though. I will shoot up and take a defense if I feel like a defense is going to be a powerhouse in the upcoming year. I will take one like in the 5th round. So like this year, I think Detroit's going to have a powerhouse defense. So I may, if they're still available at like the 5th round, I would take the Detroit Lions defense if it's available. Now, if I'm having in a league like the Detroit Sports Alliance, it's probably a good chance it's not going to happen because other people understand that defense is going to be well. So that's my philosophy. Kareem Hunt worth a late round pick. No, don't take Kareem Hunt in the draft. Now, 3 weeks prior to him getting reinstated, he'll still be available. I would take him like 3 weeks before he gets reinstated, pick him off the waiver wire. Usually, when I take like a Kareem Hunt, say he's going to be suspended for 9 games. I won't draft him, but 3 weeks prior, I will pick him up, knowing that I'm going to be in the playoffs and I can utilize him in the playoffs. That's usually what I do. I start focusing on if there's a suspended player or an injured player. I'll pick them up a couple weeks before other individuals because I know they'll pick them up the week before. I'll pick them up 2 weeks prior, so I'll try to hit it before. Because usually when it comes to the waiver wire, if you're doing well, you're not good at the waiver wire, so you're going to be picking fairly last, and I'm always picking last, near the last. I usually have pretty good record, so you want to take an individual like that. Try to pick them up 3 weeks prior. So that's what I do, and you know what? That's a great point. I probably will look at that as well and say, I'm going to pick him up 3 weeks prior. Zeke doesn't even get touched until he's gone 3 yards. He's always a good choice. Yes, he is a good choice, but if you're picking like the number one running back, if you're gonna go with his, like I did go Ezekiel last year, that was definitely my pickup. But like if you're, say you have the second pick in the draft, you're going to be picking second, and then you're going to be picking another like 13 picks later, or whatever picks. You're going to be picking a while after that. You got to make sure that the first running back you take, whether it be Ezekiel Elliott or another, a legitimate best running back in the league, that you're taking he's going to have the best year. So I know Ezekiel Elliott's going to be good. If I'm picking number 2, and you got nearly every pick available, then I'm going to look at offensive line. So, like me, I think I had like the 3rd pick last year. That was an easy pick for me to pick Ezekiel Elliott. So I pick Ezekiel Elliott. But after that, I'm going to have a couple picks, like 8 picks later. I got to look at now offensive line. Now I got to determine who is going to be a sleeper pickup. So I picked up, I think I forgot who was my second running back, but I ended up taking Kerryon Johnson. Everyone, I got laughed at saying, "Oh, this is gonna be a bad pickup." Ended up doing very well for me. Okay, I took Kareem or Tariq. I did get Kareem Hunt. I think I did. I think I did as well. I don't know. I had a really good lineup. And so you got to look at offensive lines. You got to look schematics as well. Like Kansas City's gonna have a big time offense. So pick up those players, okay? Tariq Hill, don't pick him up. I think he's going to be suspended the whole year. Don't do it. But it's always a for sure bet to if you look at offenses, go ahead and jump on offenses type players. So yeah, that's how I would do it if you have struggle with fantasy football. Don't really pay attention to the mainstream stuff. Sometimes some people are good. I know like the morning show and the NFL Network, they actually are pretty good when it comes to that stuff. their advice as well. If you don't believe my advice, they actually have a really good fantasy football show. The guys on ESPN, I forget his name. They're really not good at all. Ignore it. They I remember the 2011 season. They're like, don't get Matthew Stafford. I crushed those people because I took Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson that year, and I definitely won the league. And so, yeah, simply you kind of got to look how the team's building for the next year. Like Lions defense is going to be a hell of a pick this year, and if I do it for individuals that are Lions fans, I'm probably not going to get it, but hella try if you can get them in the 5th round. Is there any other questions you would like to relay to myself? It is 7 o'clock right now, and before I get off, I would like to give the floor to you folks. Is there anything else you would like for me to talk about before I decide to call it a night? I will give you a couple seconds to think about anything. If not, if there's nothing for tonight, go ahead if you would like to. Again, you can send me an email, my Twitter account. It is right there below. And send me information. I will talk about it next week with, I think Risky will be on next week. I think his test will be over, as well as CA3 with me. I know CA3's got other stuff going on Wednesday as well, so it just depends. And I will get back to you with that. Didn't people bash us for teaching like they did Walker, TJ or Hawkinson? I think you're talking to Hawkinson. Yeah, they always bash us, folks. They bash us when we took Kenny Galladay. I remember people up in arms the Galladay pick, and I'm like, what is wrong with these people? They don't understand the building blocks, and of course, it was proven wrong. With Frank Ragnow, wrong. Tyler Decker was not actually bashed as a pick, and he's still pretty good. Bob Quinn's always getting bashed, and yet his picks are fantastic. So don't worry about what other people say when it comes to that with the mainstream media. Mr. Lions fan 75. We are I think we are definitely better when it comes to that stuff. So talk to DSA. Oh, the Kerryon Johnson, sorry. Yeah, they bashed us too with Kerryon Johnson. Look how that turned out. If he wasn't got injured, he could have been the same damn numbers as the Giants running back, who is the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. So we got a guy in the 2nd round who is very good as well. And so Bob Quinn wins again. It's called Quinning, and he is a great general manager. With that said, folks, I really appreciate you guys taking time to listen to me rant about Detroit Lions when it comes to talking about economics as well as just other fun stuff. So again, I'm not sure what's going on with the roundtable folks. I'm sure they'll be throwing up some videos and doing some other stuff for next week. They got the roundtable at, I think it's Tuesdays at 8 as well as Thursdays at 8. Our stuff is at 5 o'clock, Mondays and Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. If you have not subscribed, please do so. If you're watching this after the fact live stream, hit that like button. Make sure you hit the bell and you get my notifications. Subscribe to all the fellows on the DSA. You know the big four, but if you don't know Risky's Football Talk, make sure you subscribe to him. CA3, subscribe to him. And of course, myself, if you're just watching. And again, thank you, Mike. Peace out as well. And you folks, you have yourself a fantastic